box up here. Well, you gave us a hint or a taste of the genesis of Spinal Tap in your intro, but maybe you could kind of take us through the story of how you and Michael McKean kind of grew together and eventually arrived at this.
So I'll use this. Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, Michael McKean and I started playing music, I think we were 18, and writing songs together on 11th Street. And so we were always doing that. We were in a bunch of bands. I was in other bands later on. And in the late 70s, I did a TV special. They had something then called TV specials, which meant that you did one. Rob Reiner, Billy Crystal, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, Martin Mull, a few other people did this show. And on that show, the premise was someone changing channels. So we did all the commercials, we did every show you saw, and Spinal Tap made its first appearance on that. And it was a different group of people. It was Michael, and it was me, and it was Russ Kunkel playing drums. Russ Kunkel also plays drums in the film. He's a great rock and roll drummer. And Loudon Wainwright played keyboards. And that was the first time that we thought, basically a few years later, this was fun, why don't we continue doing this? And we were given money to write a script. And we realized about a week in that we couldn't really write what we needed to do. It needed to be done in a more spontaneous way. And so we took the money they gave us and we started actually making the movie. Literally just went out and started shooting this in an improvised way. And then the money dried up and we had 20 minutes and we started to shop that around to the studios in Los Angeles, and people looked at it and said, what's this? I don't get it. What's this supposed to be? And we said, well, it's supposed to be a comedy, actually. And they said, no, it's not. Well, okay. And we went everywhere, and people said, no, this is, I don't even know what this is. This is. And finally, Norman Lear said to Rob Reiner, just go and make the movie. Here's the money, go and make the movie, which we did. And then that was the movie. And if it hadn't been for Norman Lear, there would have never been a movie, because he was the only one that said, just go and do this. And he trusted Rob. And then years later, this is not connected to the movie, but years later, when a company called Castle Rock was formed, Rob Reiner said to me, just go and make a movie. And I made a movie called Waiting for Guffman. That doesn't happen anymore, where someone says, just go and make your movie. Rob was lucky to have Norman as his patron, and I was lucky to have Rob as my patron, who said, literally just go and make the movie. So that was the genesis of this.
I could be way off here, but was this like the first mockumentary ever made?
Well, we meaning me, call it a mockumentary. That was a term invented by some journalist, and we never liked that, but sorry. But it was the first movie done in the style that I know of like this, and it's not something that happens very often. This is, I've explained this in front of some audiences before. We wrote an outline which delineates all the scenes and all the complexities of what happens in the movie, and then we shoot. There's no rehearsal, and there are no lines written. And apart from specific jokes like the 11 joke, because we had to obviously make the amp, it's all on camera.
Before you actually started the shoot, you obviously had to kind of come up with the band, the look of the band, the characters, the songs. There were a lot of things that you had to develop, and one of the things that people always comment on is how accurate the details are in terms of, this is an English band, you're all Americans, but you're playing an English band. The accents, you can testify, are totally flawless. Not just people in the band, but some of the people around the band, like June Chadwick, she's American, but never even know it.
She's English.
Oh, she's English? Oh, well, that blows that. But can you basically tell us about how you guys actually conceptualized Spinal Tap? And, you know, were there specific models? Were there specific...
There weren't specific people, but there was a genre, and you're probably all too young to remember, but in the 80s there were a lot of bands that were very pretentious, shall we say. And a lot of them fancied themselves great artists, and they made these music videos that went on for 20 minutes about unicorns and, you know, princesses and Viking, whatever it was. And we thought that was amusing at the time. And we thought it's always good, or could be good, to be people that thought of themselves very highly and kind of were aiming a little too high. But we wanted to write songs that were engaging. We had been musicians for a long time, and that's the balance in trying to make some songs, because we subsequently went out on tour, and we toured all over the world for 25 years, playing these shows for 2 hours. And if you don't have the songs that can kind of work musically, then you're in trouble. So we had to find the balance, and obviously the concepts are stupid and the lyrics are funny, but we wanted to have this overblown, you know, their sense of themselves is a bit.
Were any of you fans of any of the metal bands at all?
Of certain players, you know, this was not about a specific band, and every band after that would come up to us and say, oh yeah, it's us, right? You're doing us. And I know, we're not doing you. But it's that weird thing that after the fact, dozens of bands would come up and say, that's me, it's not you. And people would say, you're doing Jeff Beck, and Jeff Beck said, you're doing me. And I said, no, I'm just me doing this other thing. But it is interesting how that, after the fact, it becomes some other animal, I guess. I don't know.
It becomes the property of the world, the rock world at least. All right, let's see if we've got some questions out there. There must be hundreds.